Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video. This hike was actually a small portion of the Pacific Crest Trail, which is a hike that starts from the Mexican border and goes all the way up to the Canadian border. And my particular hike was only 8 miles. As per the All Trails map, it starts at this place called the Inspiration Point, and then it goes up to Guffey Campground, and then you make your way back down the same route. That is, if you follow the trail. I only partially followed that trail. So like I mentioned, it was an out and back hike, which means you're going down the same route twice. So it gets a little repetitive. I wanted to try out something different. So I actually went up the west side of the mountains and came back around the east side of the mountain. So I made a little loop instead of just out and back. Now the downfall of that is that the right side is not exactly meant for hikers. It's actually meant for off-road vehicles. So once in a while you'll see a truck or a Jeep coming by, and you just have to step onto the side, let them pass. And they're generally pretty nice. They will slow down and wave at you. I guess the problem really is once they pass, there's a lot of dust and debris that you have to deal with. But overall, not too bad. It wasn't too busy, so it wasn't that big of a deal, in my opinion. The nice thing is you do get to see both sides of the mountain range, the west side and the east side, so that's nice. So like I mentioned, the All Trails map says it's about 8 miles. I did not follow the trail, so I kind of just went by my gut feeling. And well, not necessarily my gut feeling. I went as far into the hike that I wanted to go, and then also I was making sure to check on my water, because right about the time when I was halfway through my water that I brought with me, I turned around and came back to the parking lot. And that's generally a pretty good rule of thumb for me, unless I know there's going to be springs or waterfalls along the way where I can filter water. Then it's a different story. But I did not come across any of those on this particular hike. In terms of weather, it was pretty hot. Now I went on this hike early September, and it was quite hot. It's still pretty hot here in late September, but during that time there were a lot of wildfires taking place. So I don't know if you noticed, but in some of the videos you can see this purple haze type of thing in the background. That's the smoke from all the California wildfires, which were still burning at the time that I went on this hike. Not in the area where I was, but a lot of the smoke was coming in from the northwest side. So I guess one of the nice things about this hike is that I was hiking southbound for the most part, and the views to the south were pretty clear. And then obviously you loop back around the other side, the east side of the mountain, and then once again it was generally pretty clear because the smoke is coming from the northwest side. Even though it was extremely hot, it wasn't too bad, because you do run into patches where there's a lot of tree cover, so you're walking in the shade, allows you the opportunity to kind of cool off a little bit. But generally speaking, the views are pretty wide open. You can see the entire mountain range. It's really nice, and I can only imagine how nice it is without the smoke. And one other thing was that I did see a lot of ski areas and ski lifts and things like that along the way, so it'd be nice to go back there in the winter to kind of check that out as well. In terms of elevation, you're starting at about 7,400 feet of elevation, where the parking lot is really conveniently located right at the trailhead, which is always really nice, so you don't have to hike just to get to your hike, if you know what I mean. Also, from a safety standpoint, I think it's just generally better if the parking lot is right at the trailhead, so less chance of your car being broken into or whatever. It's never happened to me, but I have heard of that happening to other people, and it's always nice to just have a parking lot right next to the trailhead. So your starting point is going to be around 7,400 feet of elevation, and then you're climbing another, I would say 13, maybe 1,400 feet of elevation, depending on how far along the hike you go. One last thing I want to remind you guys of is the link below for the fundraiser. I want to personally thank a couple of people that did contribute last week. That's really nice of you guys. I think you wanted to stay anonymous, so I won't mention your names, but thank you. And thank you in advance for the rest of you that are going to check out the link below. I do want to point out, I don't think I mentioned this last time around, but I am not affiliated with the World Academy of Development. I just really like what they're doing, and I want to kind of try this out, give everybody else an opportunity to help out as well. So thanks for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up again next week.